CF Kids, my name is Melissa, and I'm so glad you're joining me for another CF Kids Hangout. Today, we are going to be making something special for our teachers. I know we haven't been in school for a while, but that doesn't mean we don't have amazing teachers in our life right now. In fact, I bet mom and dad have been helping you a lot with your schoolwork lately, right? So, whether you make this project for your school teacher or whether you make this for mom or dad, either way, this is going to be a really nice way of just saying thank you. Now, the reason we're making something for our teachers is because this past weekend in our CF Kids service, I was reminded of something very important. If you haven't had a chance to watch the service yet, make sure you go to cfmiami.org/kids and catch up. So we learned about one of Jesus' disciples named Philip and an Ethiopian eunuch. Say that 3 times fast. Ethiopian eunuch, Ethiopian eunuch, Ethiopian eunuch. Were you able to say it? I wasn't. Anyway, this Ethiopian eunuch, he was reading from the book of Isaiah, which is a book in the Bible. And Philip asked him a question. He said, "Do you understand what you're reading?" The Ethiopian eunuch replied, "How can I, unless someone explains it to me?" Wow, boys and girls, isn't that the truth? How can you and I learn something unless someone is willing to teach it to us? You know, this story goes on to say that Philip explained the scriptures to this Ethiopian man, and as a result, he believed in Jesus and was baptized. The reason this happened is because this Ethiopian man was willing to be taught. He didn't give up when he had questions. And that reminds me of our bottom line, which is don't give up even when you have questions. So now that we can see how important teachers are, let's make something special for them. So you can see I have 2 bouquets of paper flowers and I'm going to show you how to make them. This first one over here is really easy. It's going to take a minute to make. So let me show you. Just start off with a sheet of paper and you're going to trace your hand. Okay? Now we're going to cut it out. Remember, boys and girls, you have to ask permission to use scissors. Got my hand all cut out. Put the scraps to the side. Okay, so now that we have our hands all cut out, here's what we're going to do next. I have a straw and some tape. And I am going to tape the straw to the center of the hand, just like that. Now, I'm just taking this hand and rolling it together. And you can use glue from a glue stick to stick it together. I'm just going to use tape because otherwise I'm going to have to hold it down and wait for the glue to dry. So I'm just going to tape it for the sake of going quickly. Ta-da! Okay, then this is a pipe cleaner and you can use whatever color you want. And I'm going to stick the pipe cleaner through the straw. And I'm going to make a little knot just so that it doesn't fall right back through the straw. Okay. Get in there. Perfect. Okay, so anything that's left over here in the bottom, you can just snip. Okay, one more step. and it's the finishing step. You can get a pencil or you can, yeah, a pencil is probably best. Ta-da! You've made a little lily out of your hand. I'm gonna add this one to my bouquet. Pretty easy, right? Now, these kinds of flowers, they're easy as well. They are just a little more involved, so maybe for our older kids watching. So here's what you're gonna do. You are going to get a strip of paper. This one is 2 inches by 9 inches. It does not have to be that size, but I'm just letting you know that's the size of my paper. And you are going to make a fold along the bottom of your paper. A small little fold. So just like that. Then you're going to take your scissors and you are going to cut strips. It's called a fringe along the long part of the paper. Ta-da! It kind of looks like a little hula skirt. Okay, this next step, I don't know why, I just really like this step. Okay, you're gonna take something, I have a little skewer, kind of like what you would use for a shish kebab if you were having a barbecue. You could use a pencil, just anything that's kind of small and round, and here's what you're going to do. I'm going to take each little fringe and I'm going to curl it around my skewer, and then it just becomes like a little roll. And I'm going to do that for each one. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a little thin line of glue to the back of this straight part that is not curled. Okay, so just like that, I add a little bit of glue. And I have this little skewer, the same little skewer that I used to curl them. And I am going to wrap this around this. Now, boys and girls, this might be, I guess, the trickiest part of the whole project. And really, it's one of those things, practice makes perfect. You kind of have to do it a couple times. But even if you don't get it right the first time, just try it again. Ta-da! It kind of looks like one of those lollipops, those little Hard Rock candy pops. Okay, so that's the flower part, and now we need to do the stem. So I could very easily just paint my stem green or color it with a marker, but I'm going to wrap it with paper. So I have this little thin strip of green paper cut, and I'm going to apply some glue, just a thin little line. You can see that I am not adding a whole lot of glue. It's just a little bit. And then right where I left off, I'm going to wrap it. You know what? Here's a little tip. It's easier when you kind of start at an angle than if you just start wrapping it straight. Okay, all wrapped. The only thing left is to do the leaves. So I'm going to put that down, and I just have a piece of green paper. I'm going to fold it because that's too big. And one more time. So you're going to want your paper to be about this size. Okay, so you're gonna want your paper to be about this size. You can just use one sheet if you're just gonna make one flower. But if you're gonna do a whole bouquet, you might as well cut them all the little leaves out in one go. So that's what I'm gonna do. So when it's all said and done, it should look like grass. Okay, and here's what I'm gonna do, a little glue. Flower. I'm gonna wrap it diagonally, like I've done with the other parts. Okay, I'll slide it up. And then with my pencil, I can just curl the leaves out. Okay, and I'll add it to the bouquet. Ta-da! Okay, so I hope you enjoyed making these flowers with me, and I really hope that you'll make them and give them to a special teacher in your life. That's all the time we have for today. Bye, boys and girls.